9 minutes after the hour, y'all. I'm John Lyon on the ones and twos, chicken and waffle mix. It is Friday. We done went from the after party mix to stand up in it, battle of the sexes. We did everything on this show. Man, I am so excited to have the one and only Dondré Whitfield on the show this morning. Y'all give it up. Show love.
Man, y'all better stop it. What's going on?
Man, listen.
The only thing that can get me up right now at 6:10 in the morning over here during this pandemic.
Hey, I'm going to tell you something. I know you done did a lot of stuff, but you will always be Terrence from All My Children. Always.
Man, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. You know how many people said, hey, I used to schedule my classes around All My Children, my college classes around All My Children. That's hilarious.
Man, listen. Man, I can't even believe I'm talking to you, man. I used to watch All My Children. Me and my grandma used to love you. I still love you, but my grandma used to wait for you to come on. I said, when I read your, I said, oh no, I don't care nothing about it. I know he done all this other. We know you done Vanessa's boyfriend on the Cosby Show and Robert and Remy Newell from Queen Sugar, but
yes,
you
sir.
will
yes,
always, nothing will top Terrence from All My Children.
True story.
From the story. See, that's how you know. See, when you talk to white folks, it's soap operas. When you talk to black folks, it's a story.
The story.
Right.
and then when you talk to Spanish folks, it's novellas.
Hey, I want y'all to help me welcome Emmy-nominated veteran TV actor and now author Dondré Whitfield, y'all. Come on.
Yeah.
It is my pleasure to be here, brother. My pleasure, man.
Man, we are so happy to have you. The book is titled Male versus Man, How to Honor Women, Teach Children, and Elevate Men to Change the World. Now, before we get into the book,
indeed.
How is your wife, the lovely Sally Richardson Whitfield, and your children?
Oh, my gosh. Man, you know what? We are so, first of all, she is wonderfully well, and my children are well. We are far too blessed to complain about anything. We simply pray for those that are less fortunate and less resourced during this time, man, because it's really tragic what we're experiencing right now. But we're really hoping to pray for some leadership for the sake of our country, because we need it, and hopefully get this space restored soon.
Right.
Nice.
So, go ahead, Eva.
So I have a question about this book. So the title of your book is Male versus Man. Explain what you mean by that.
Huge difference between those two. Every man, by virtue of anatomy, every man is a male, but not every male is a man.
Right.
Because males look to be served, while men look to be of service. So there is a huge difference between being a male and being a man.
Oh, that's deep right there. I love that. So what happened in your life, for you to understand the difference between male and man, kind of like what inspired this?
Man, all of the traumas that come from not performing like a man when you are giving the responsibilities of one. Right? So when we come into, people think, every time I speak to a group of young brothers, I always ask them, name me your favorite athletes. And, the cast of characters, particularly if we talk about basketball, same cast of characters always come up. LeBron, Kobe, MJ. And I always ask them, what do they all have in common? And they say they had drive, or, they were talented, or, or they had stick-to-itiveness, all that, all those things. There's one thing that you guys are missing. They all had great coaching.
Right.
They all got to that space by having great coaching. And guess what? The more elevated they got in their craft, the bigger their platform, the bigger their stage, the more coaching they got. So as they got to the pros, even though they were these dynamic players with all of these superlatives attached to their talents, they had more coaching. They had a defensive coach, offensive coach. They had a shooting coach. They had a strength and conditioning coach. They had a nutritionist that was coaching them in the way of eating. They didn't get less coaching. They got more coaching. So why is it that we think that being an athlete, in order to be a great athlete, you need great coaching, but in order to be a great man, you don't need great coaching?
I swear you're telling the truth.
If nobody ever teaches you how to be a man, then how do you know how to be one? It doesn't come with a magical age when you turn 18 or 21 and all of a sudden magical fairy dust gets spread all over you and you become a man. No, that comes with skill set that you apply to dedicating your life to being a servant. That's when you become a man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. And you know, I really appreciate this book. I'm excited about reading it because, woo, boy, this is just really, really, really personal. I really love this. So, the thing about it is, you know, if it weren't for Little League football and having a grandfather and having a couple of uncles or whatever, I would not be where I am. You know what I'm saying? Coach Osley made me tough. Coach Holmes made me tough. My granddaddy taught me how to pay bills, and I watched my grandfather, the way he treated my grandmother, you know, growing up in a household like that, and I watched my grandfather take care of everybody. You know what I'm saying? And that stuff like that. It's like even now, you know, being 51, I got mentors. I got Glenn and Threet in my life. Yes. You know, I got different people because, man, you got to be teachable and coachable, you know, and people that's not coachable are not employable.
Rickey, let me say something really important to this point, Rickey, and I'm so glad that you brought that up, brother, because there's a controversial notion that has been pervasive in our in our culture, in our community for a long time. And that is the issue of our sisters who are raising boys to be men. Now, my mother, as a single mother, my father was in and out of jail my entire adolescence. My mother raised me. My mother taught me how to be a great human being. She taught me how to be responsible. She taught me how to be considerate. She taught me how to be conscious. My mother also taught me how to cook, but it didn't make me a chef. If I wanted to become a chef, I had to get under the tutelage of a chef. So while my mother taught me how to be a great human being, she couldn't teach me how to be something she was not. My mother couldn't teach me how to be a man. I had to get around the tutelage of men in order to usher me into that space of manhood. So again, my mother couldn't teach all the things that she taught me. She couldn't teach me how to be something I'm not. Let me further drive that point home. I got a 15-year-old daughter.
Hold that thought. You know what I'm gonna do, man? This is so important to me. I was having a conversation. I'm gonna bring you over on the other side because, man,
let's do it.
You have went straight to my nervous system. And I've been wanting to say all of this stuff, but I just didn't have the words to properly articulate it or whatever. And this is so important because I'm gonna throw you a couple of alley oops, and we were supposed to do the front page up next, but I'm coming back with you because I really want you to make this point because a lot of mothers out there that really need to hear this. And I'm gonna give you a couple of scenarios and why and the whys. Coming up next, man, we got my man, Dondré Whitfield. More up next, Rickey Smiley Morning Show. On the show with us this morning, I'm so excited, man. I wanted to bring you over on another break because this is something really, really important. Tell us why, I was talking about the football coaches and uncles stepping up. A lot of men do step up to the plate. But what I need the ladies to understand, you have to kind of almost, and we know you love your sons, you have to almost walk away and allow a man to teach the younger boy because I see a lot of parents overcompensating, doing the best they can, overcompensating for the father not being there. And when a coach or an uncle try to step up to the plate, it's a real sensitive issue. And trying to get women to like, okay, I'm going to let you handle that part right there. And because you can't teach them how to be a man. And why is it so important for women to read this book?
It's really important for women to read this book for a couple of reasons. Number one, it teaches them how, what the difference between being a male and a man is, so that they will be able to appropriately partner themselves. Many of our women are inappropriately partnered because they don't know what they're supposed to be looking for, right? So you can have what I call grown males who are wearing the uniform of a man. That means he's got facial hair. He might have great pecs. He might even be wearing the accoutrements of success, right? Nice watch. He might be driving a nice car. That makes him look like a man, but really, he's still stuck in the mental capacity of a boy. So that happens as a result of many of our sisters not knowing the difference between a male and a man. The second reason is because they also need to understand that they need to be partnered with a man, not necessarily the son's biological father, but they need to be partnered with a man in order for their son to be properly ushered into manhood. The point that I made before
you better preach. You better preach on this radio show this morning, sir.
Man, listen, man, brother, I am not playing with this, man. I wrote this book. Listen, my father would have become a great man had my father had proper instruction. Instead, he wasted away in jail. One of my uncles would have been a great man had he had proper instruction. Instead, he wasted many decades of his life in jail. While I have never been in jail, there were years where my manhood was stalled because I didn't have proper messaging of manhood. And now I have an 11-year-old son, Ricky. I created what I think is going to serve as the playbook for manhood. Because what about the millions of our young boys that don't have someone to usher them into manhood? And all I ever hear my sister saying, who are single parents, and I'm thinking about my mother in that, even my grandmother in that, where do I get the information to help bring my son into manhood? Here it is right here. You and your son can read this book at the same time. You'll learn what you need in order to be properly partnered with one, and your son will learn what he needs in order to be ushered into manhood.
Hey, Dondre, can you do me a personal favor?
Yes, sir.
Can you come back on the show and talk about emasculation?
Man, all day, bro. Whatever you want to do.
Let me tell you something.
How long you want to do it?
You remember that video with Marshawn Lynch? Everybody was going in on Marshawn Lynch when he had the football camp. And when he asked the young lady, he said, ma'am, where's your man, your husband? Do you have a man with you? And everybody got offended and don't understand that he needed to explain and have a conversation with the man to help her understand what he was trying to do. You know, my grandfather had to check my grandmother one day, said, listen, hello? Yeah, my grandfather had to check my grandmother one day and said, don't go out on the football field. If you can't take him getting his face mask grabbed, getting doing duck walks, getting yelled at and screamed at, you don't need to take him to football practice. You need to let the coach make him tough. And I had an older white man named Coach Osley. And that was my first experience playing Little League football on the 70-pound at Tarrant. And it really freaking changed my life. And I had to stay out there on that football field with gnats and mosquitoes. You know, we in the South. And it just made me, it just developed my character. And just being on that football field every day and riding on the back of a truck just to get to football practice. And then we went down there and met with Coach Paul Bear Bryant at the University of Alabama, and he talked to us. We won the Sugar Bowl that year. We was champions that year, but it was just an emasculation. I done raised a lot of kids, man, and to be undermined or to have because the boys gonna always cling to their mothers, but but it had to be a good co-parenting situation where the mother say, "Hey, go ahead."
Yep, you just said the word co-parent. Now remember, I said that boy doesn't need to be fathered by his biological, but he does need to be fathered. So I'm gonna make 2 points. My father. I realized that my father and I were estranged for each other for 20 years until I finally had enough empathy for the fact that my father couldn't father me because he himself was unfathered. Do you know that often back in the motherland, we used to take our sons away from their mother to teach them, to usher them into manhood. And we used to take them away from her for weeks at a time, and then even after we went and taught them, we prevented them from coming back to mom so that they couldn't undo what we taught them.
Hey, Dondre, I'm gonna write the topic to your next book. I want you to think about this one. For young men, in order to have a father or father figure, you have to be willing to be fathered.
Period.
That's a whole another book right there, man. Let everybody know how you can be reached and how can we get your book, because I'm getting mine, buddy.
Listen, the book is called Male versus Man, How to Honor Women, Teach Children to Elevate Men and Change the World. It's anywhere books are sold, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. I'm at All Dondre, ALLDONDRE on Instagram, and at Dondré Whitfield on Twitter and Facebook. You know, this is too important for our community, brother. We've got to do it.
Hey, man, thank you so much. Man, this was so important. I had to bring you on for a second break. I apologize about the front page, but this had to be done. Like you said.
Man, don't apologize, brother. I can talk about this for hours. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. I know. We're going to have you back, brother. This will not be the last time.
I'm here. Whenever you want me, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, y'all give it up and show your love. Dondré Whitfield, y'all. Come on.
Thank you, Dondré.